And we have a question from Rhino. Rhino? Is this what...
That is what
Rhino
he
calls
himself.
himself Rhino?
Yes. Or herself.
Or herself, yeah.
Themself.
So Rhino says, I've recently bought a new Ribble 725 steel gravel bike and I love it. The bike is tubeless ready, but is supplied with tubes. I'm afraid that going tubeless will just mean more maintenance and being stranded on the roadside covered in sealant. I think that's a fair thing to be concerned about. For context, I don't race. I'm not really interested in speed, but I do enjoy spending over 3-4 hours in the saddle. My priorities would be comfort, reliability, and easy maintenance. Can you give me some advice about whether I should take the plunge and what are the pros and cons? Any advice would be appreciated. Before you wade in on this, because I know you're going to have very definite opinions on it, being a bike shop guy and someone which does a lot of this riding, my opinion on this is... I love that Rhino's priorities are comfort, reliability, and easy maintenance. That is me as well. I think he should do it, but I think he should do it via a shop or via enough knowledge that he gets the right tyres, the right sealant, and learns how to do it himself, because it isn't that complicated. But getting rubbish tyres with rims that are not very compatible and rubbish sealant, it will be a bad experience, whereas getting the right stuff will make it good and it'll work. But sometimes it will not work. But ultimately, the right stuff. Oh, and even the little wormy things. So if you do use a bike shop, ask them for their recommendations. I'm sure Nick is going to have a very definite opinion on this. Go.
100% yes. Tubeless all the way for gravel. We were against road tubeless up until recently, but it's all based on sealant. All the sealants out there essentially work well for gravel because there's high volume tires, so your tire pressure is lower, so it doesn't need to be as good a sealant to seal the holes.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So on road, obviously, you run high pressures. So if it's a road bike, only use the Styrkr sealant. Nothing compares with it. I'm not paid by them to say this. It just is better. We run for gravel as well, just because it's that much better for road. It's even better for gravel. I have not plugged a single tire on my bike in over a year with a Styrkr sealant.
Is that the one that's got the bits in it?
Yeah, the carbon fiber in it.
Have you done that thing where people put like glitter in sealant?
No, but I get the concept, but this is that.
But better.
But better, because it forms like a nest. You can see photos online. We've
Right.
seen it. But the big thing for me with tubeless on gravel bikes are that, try it. If you don't like it, there's nothing lost. Just put your inner tubes back in.
Well, it's messy, isn't it?
I know it's messy, but it just works better. If it seals one puncture, it's one puncture where you didn't stop your bike and get off and take a wheel off and get yourself covered in oil on your chain, and then having to get the tire off the rim, getting the inner tube out, putting your inner tube in, making sure you find what's caused the puncture, otherwise it punctures again. It's just a lot of a hassle, where on tubeless, I would say with a decent sealant, you're going to seal 80%. 8 out of 10 of all your punctures are going to seal. The ones that don't seal, you put a plug in. The ones where your tire is cut in half, well, tube wasn't going to help you there either. But if 8 out of 10 punctures are sealing with tubeless, 0 out of 10 punctures are sealing with inner tubes. So just try it. Topping up, all of this is daunting. Tubeless has come a long way recently, because a few years ago, you had bad tires, bad rims, bad sealant. And I'm not talking cheap. I'm talking Continental, Vittoria, the top wheel manufacturers, Mavic, all of them were doing it wrong. And then somebody came out and they made a standard, the ERTO standard. And wheels and tires have to be made to the standard to comply. And you can thank Hookless for this, actually. And because of that, everybody started making the tires and the wheels to work very well together. So tubeless works better. And now with improved sealant over the time, because originally it was just stands, and they made good stuff. But loads of companies that don't even like them, like Muckoff, they make a decent sealant. It works quite well, apparently. Lucas swears by it. But yeah, if you can afford the Styrkr sealant, do that. And then just learn how to top it up.
And top it up regularly. I remember because you switched mine over, didn't you? And you said put a calendar reminder in for like
every 3 months. Yeah. And that costs money, but if it seals punctures, if you're getting regular punctures, topping up is nothing compared to what it's going to cost replacing inner tubes.
The thing is about the worry about being stranded on the roadside covered in sealant. The thing is, like, you can't plan for every disaster eventuality that's going to happen when you're out on the bike ride. You can carry all the stuff and there's going to be something that happens and you still get stuck.
You can't plan for all eventualities. But if you carried an inner tube with tubeless, worst case scenario, putting the inner tube back in.
Yep.
Invest in a good hand pump. Because
I do love a hand pump.
to put
Top
some
tube
air
pump.
back in, don't use CO2. I see it all the time on YouTube. Everybody using CO2. CO2 and sealant do not go well together.
Don't know.
You use CO2 as a last resort. But yeah, and then lastly, learn how to use either the little worms, like plugs, or Dynaplug. Dynaplug's a bit more expensive, but it's just easy. You don't have to think about it. You just pop it in and out. Costs a bit more money, but it's, yeah,